Hey guys, and welcome to the 6th episode of the Trinisphere. I'm Ryan, the Spike, with the Timmy, Shannon,
Hey, what's up, guys?
and Adam R. Johnny.
How's it going?
And we are brought to you by tappedout.net. You can also find us on thetrinisphere.com, our website, Facebook, and Twitter. Tonight's show will be covering removal, our top 5 removal spells as individuals, removal types, removal diversity, how much removal to run in your decks, and we have a very special chance encounter. All right, first up tonight, we have diversity in types of removal, and we are going to go worst to best tonight. And first on our list is damage-based removal. Not that great. You got yourself some Blasphemous Axe, some Earthquakes. It kills specifically only creatures. How do you guys feel about this damage-based removal?
Well, as a Timmy, I kind of like some of the bigger burn spells to be able to kill players. So, I mean, of the damaging or of the destruction target removal types, I do like that damage-based removal can actually knock out players. Being able to hit planeswalkers is pretty nice too. So it has a little more versatility than just dealing with the traditional like artifact, enchantment, or creature. It's one that can actually hit a couple other things. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that generally I only use damage-based removal when I'm in colors that I don't really have access to better options. Yeah,
So red.
Right. I mean, yeah, mono red is pretty much what we're working with here. But the mono red decks definitely need. I mean, Blasphemous Act, Chain Reaction, these are still good spells in my opinion. Even like a Volcanic Offering, they're not bad. They are definitely not optimal. There are better options in other colors, but you work with what you have. So if you're heavy in red, and I mean you also have the Fiery Confluence.
I mean that card's really good.
Because it can do a little bit of destruction with the artifact as well as do the damage based stuff.
I mean, we're also talking about a modal spell here. Come on.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean it gives you options, but yeah, I would agree. Generally speaking, damage-based removal, not a huge fan.
The worst of all.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with all those points. Up next, we have Edict effects. And personally, I like Edicts. I mean, I really do. I mean, you got yourself the Fleshbag Marauders that make everyone sack things, which I think is just super strong. I mean, you're playing a 3-mana spell and killing 4 creatures. I mean, there's also the downside. They get to pick what dies, which can be pretty bad.
Yeah. I think one of the worst parts about Edicts is that you can't really target the creatures. Although I guess there is like Sarkhan the Mag can actually target something for sacrificing, which is really weird. But beyond that, the opponent always gets to choose. So you're never getting the best target. Edict's kind of like trying to be like a tempo play. You're trying to do it early and often. So other than that, I think it's nice that it gets around indestructible if that situation presents itself. But other than that, unless you're like sacking a ton to a Grave Pact or something, you're probably not able to kill the permanent you need.
Yeah, I'm generally actually not a huge fan of Edict effects. I mean, I realize that they are powerful against certain things like indestructibility, gods and Avacyn and things like that need to be gotten rid of in some way. But edicts have never worked out in a multiplayer scenario for me. Like I might get one thing that I want off the table, but the person I'm really trying to get something away from is not really struck by it all that much. It just doesn't generate value. It's not really protecting anything that I'm doing, which is what I'm concerned with, because a lot of times they're symmetrical, which is not fun for me.
Yeah, I think the only time I really am happy about an edict is on like turn 3 when I see a bunch of people play their commanders and I have that Fleshbag Marauder up. So
value.
But beyond that, not really that.
Just gain that value. Yeah, I agree. Up next, we have straight up destruction, just destroying things. Pretty powerful. I mean, you can destroy permanents. I mean, we're talking any permanent. I mean, there's you have access to, Downfall, which hits creatures and planeswalkers. You have access to Wear and Tear, which hits, enchantments and artifacts. I mean, I think this is definitely middle of the pack when it comes to destruction-based removal, or removal in general. So,
yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about Timmy?
Yeah, I think Destroy is definitely middle of the pack. It's pretty solid. It's pretty prolific too. It's all over the place. There is some decent Destroy spells, but there's definitely better options coming down the pipe.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the kind of bread and butter statement. I mean, this is what we always look to, even if you're in mono blue, you're still running Pongify and Rapid Hybridization because they're good options at getting rid of things. They come in every type that you could possibly want to get rid of any kind of permanent, Maelstrom Pulses, Vindicates, things like that. So really solid, but not super exciting usually.
No, and I've actually noticed a lot of removal or destruction removal is in some ways situational. So you sometimes do have downfalls to certain removal spells that only target certain things. Up next, we have Exiling, which I find to be one of the most powerful effects, by hands down. Getting something out of the game forever is quite good. Then you run into yourself with a Rip Sweeper or a Pull from Eternity, and then you're sad. But yeah. So what do you guys think about the exile effects?
Yeah, I think Exile definitely probably one of the strongest types of removal, mainly because it avoids putting things in graveyards, which can end up being a second hand for many deck styles. So Exile is super strong. Merciless Eviction is kind of one of my favorite spells too, being able to exile lots of different things. I think it's pretty strong.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of good and fun ways to do this. I mean, there's Curse of the Swine, and there's kind of a lot of the old standbys. I actually run Guild in one of mine, which is probably not the best.
That's not that good.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, it's Exile and Black, which there's only a few options for. But, like, things like Utter End and stuff like that are very good cards that you can use against so many different targets. And it doesn't matter whether they have, I mean, I guess if they have protection from color, but does that even exist anymore on cards?
Not
Swords, only the sword carriers.
Not usually, no. Yeah, no, you mentioned Utter End. I mean, Anguish of Making was recently printed.
Yeah,
that's a fantastic card. Just hit an all-in permanent, instant speed for 3 mana.
Right.
Downside is 3 life, big deal.
Yeah.
Up next, we're getting up there. Board wipes. You got yourself a 1 for 20 going on here.
Value.
You just sit back on that 4 mana spell and let everyone do their thing, and then you're like, bye, Felicia. Yeah, we made a statement at one point. You know, now they're starting to print these Wraths effects that are worse than Wrath of God. You know, up or down in a sense.
Right.
Either they're plus or negative. I think board wipes are just the cream.
Yeah, I think when it comes to EDH, board wipes are where it's at. I know our group just runs tons of it. You can't really expect any of your creatures to last for more than maybe a turn or two. They're just so strong. Like you said, you're getting like 10 for 1s when you're card advantage here. So they're pretty strong, and a lot of them come tacked with really nice effects. Gaining life, making giant XXs, or drawing a bunch of cards. So they're really big card advantage generators.
Yeah, I'd say when I first came back to EDH, I did not expect the amount of board wipes that you see in it. I'm a little still even off-put by it. Like I would like to see more targeted removal and less board wipes, but I still run enough of them because I know what this game can do. And they're kind of like an unfortunate evil. The only type of board wipe I really like running is one that I can exploit over and over, like a World Slayer or something like that.
Jeez.
Get that crap out of here.
But board wipes are obviously very strong and probably need to be included in every deck to some degree.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, speaking of board wipes, you know what beats board wipes? Counter spells.
Supreme Verdict.
Hey,
summary dismissal. There's something little something.
Insert it back to your hand. Yeah. So on the top of our diversity in types of removal, we have counter spells. If it doesn't resolve, you don't have to remove it, right?
Yep.
There's plenty of counter spells out there, and I think our playgroup uses all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's unfortunate too. Like, first of all, there's some that are good and some that are bad in EDH, and people do need to learn the difference. Mana Leak shouldn't be played in EDH.
Probably never.
Spell Pierce probably shouldn't be played in EDH.
No.
Disdainful Stroke,
however, that's
very good in EDH.
Very good.
Cryptic Command, also very good. But I agree that a lot of people skip over this when they talk about removal, and counterspells are a really important facet of removal because it's just removal of something while it's on the stack as opposed to waiting till it's on the battlefield. Now, some people get like really irked by that, and that's actually something that I want to hear your opinions on, because like we definitely do see a decent amount of counterspell play in our group. How do you deal with people who like can't stand the counterspell?
I personally like seeing people get upset. So I mean,
you love it. You love to be the one countering.
Okay, so okay, if the counterspell is being used correctly, which it's not 50% of the time in our playgroup, they should be. The counterspell should be answering something that deck cannot either currently answer or cannot answer in general. So if someone's getting irked off, I'm doing my job and preventing myself from losing the game.
Yeah,
that you can't get upset. You can't get upset about that. In my opinion, you can't. I mean, Shannon.
So from somebody who, Shannon, since you don't drink Scotch and tears, like Ryan does.
I mean,
counterspells are just something that is extremely important to a group, a pod of EDH players, because it helps stop combos. And generally combos come down so fast that target removal may not be able to do the trick, or sometimes people build up board states that you can't really even target removal to stop the combo. So I think counterspells definitely need to be a part of Magic if you have combo players. That being said, there are times when people will be using those counterspells a little too early, and that's kind of when it gets frustrating, because you are almost relying on those counterspell players to have that open to stop the combo player.
Yeah.
So when they end up using it too early on maybe you or somebody else for something that seems not as valuable, you feel like not only was it countering something that wasn't very valuable, but now you no longer have that asset available. You have no way maybe to stop that combo player. You're having to dig for your counterspell, so you feel like they kind of almost just handed this game away. So counterspells can go either way. It definitely takes pretty good players to use counterspells correctly, but they are an important part of having a stable pod that isn't just people comboing off on turn 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, and from the combo perspective, I mean, I definitely play counterspells, but even my most combo heavy deck, which is Arkham Daxon, I think I only run 3 or 4, which is mono blue deck that only runs 3 or 4 counterspells.
Protection.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm trying to combo off if somebody's going to interrupt it in some way with some kind of interaction. That's what my counterspells are there for. Either I'm immediately going to die if I don't counterspell something, or my combo is just kind of has a shield around it that is a force of will and a pact of negation and things like that. And that's all that I'm using them for. You play an Avacyn or an Iona or something like that, but my combo is still good to go.
Yep.
You're good by me. No problem.
That would be the right way to use counterspells. Only use them on the things that directly affect you or directly lose the game. You don't necessarily need to deal with everything you see. Let the other people struggle. But if you have that counter open, maybe sometimes people are relying on you.
People will
stop.
beg you.
Yeah, people are also sometimes relying on you to prevent the guy from going infinite in the corner. So.
And if it's Shannon, he'll lie to you, so don't even bother. But you brought up a very good point, Shannon. I actually want to bring this up one more time. Is that you said that when people incorrectly use their counterspells, and you feel like it could have been avoided, they handed the game away, that kind of thing. I think that can be said for all types of removal. I feel like if someone board wipes a turn too early, when you know for a fact someone's about to put 2 more creatures on the board, it happens. Or if someone all is dust and an Avacyn's coming down next turn, it's like that step that was taken way too soon can just affect the game, blow a pod out.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so not just counterspells, all types of removal need to be played correctly.
Yeah, and by playing correctly, I think it follows a lot of the same rules of what Shannon, what all of us were saying, in that you use the removal when it's something that is impacting you directly or going to make you lose, and let the other people struggle. If somebody comes at you with something, then you're like, whoa, we might need to board wipe next turn. I'm just letting you be on notice. That might need to go away.
It's almost like it's almost like we've had an episode about threat assessment.
Right?
Nah, not yet.
Yeah, go listen to that.
All right, so up next tonight we have diversity and what you can remove, and I think that this is pretty self-explanatory. Impermanence.
The targets.
Yeah. We got ourselves creatures, which I'm pretty sure most decks run at least a couple, right?
I think that's the bread and butter. At least in my experience, most EDH decks are fairly creature heavy.
Yep. Most decks would be, and then you have your very select few who avoid creatures for a very specific reason.
Right, there are spellslinger decks out there, sure.
Exactly. Artifacts, I'm pretty sure most people run at least a couple rocks in their deck, right?
Yes,
for some mana acceleration.
Definitely.
Maybe a couple green decks don't need them, but even then they like to play them to accelerate their bigger ramp spells. Then we got ourselves enchantments. Enchantments, to me, I think are actually some of the most unique permanents in Magic.
Yeah,
I think they are. They do way more than any other permanent. I think they really do.
We're kind of going down the tier list on things that are how to interact. And enchantments are a little bit harder to interact with than artifacts. Artifacts tend to get blown up a little easier.
Yeah, and unless somebody's playing an enchantress deck, their enchantments usually aren't super relevant and aren't huge threats to the game. But you definitely need a way to get rid of it. You at least need a couple ways in your deck, whether it's just a destroy target permanent effect. You got a Maelstrom Pulse or something like that you can use on an enchantment if something's getting really pesky, or it's just actual enchantment removal, because Man, there are a few of them. I don't know what omniscience. That seems to be a problem sometimes.
Yeah. If you guys can't beat humility, you probably need to run an enchantment removal spell.
Yeah, fair enough.
I see that one kind of throwing wrenches in plans. So enchantment's kind of one of the ones that doesn't seem to get enough respect. So you should really consider running one or two cards in your one or two spot removal spells that can hit artifacts and enchantments. Don't just think creatures are the number one thing to be dominating the game. Just sometimes an enchantment completely turns the game on its head, so you need to have at least a few enchantment and artifact removal spells in your deck.
How many creature decks get hosed by propaganda?
Yeah.
It just ruins their life.
Yep.
I mean, how many creature decks are essentially only creature decks because they run Luminarch Ascension?
Yep.
And you board white bolt every turn if you want, but it's not getting rid of it.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
You're right. So up next we got ourselves Planeswalkers, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it is their newest permanent type, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
We'll back you on that one.
All right. Okay. Thank God. Thank God.
Lore Windblock, right?
Yeah. That was. Yep.
Yeah.
Lore Windblock introduced Planeswalkers, and I still think there's just so much fuss over these things. It's either super pro or super con. Like, why would you add a second entity to the game? Why would you? And then there's people who are just like, this is what the game's about. I love Planeswalkers.
Right.
Shannon being one of them.
Oh, yeah. Love Planeswalkers. Got a whole deck built around them. But this is kind of where we go back to the whole damage-based one being one of the weakest type of removals. But it does hit walkers. So sometimes there's a couple of creatures here and there that you can generate some incidental damage. Not necessarily removal, but like Gutter Snipe being able to ping things, like Fevered Vision being able to ping down walkers.
Yeah.
Those kinds of cards can generate a little extra ways to get around walkers. Walkers generally not very easy to deal with. And if they survive for more than one turn, then they've already started to regain lots of card advantage. So you generally want to kill the walkers fast, but they're not easy. Sometimes they generate blockers and whatnot. So having ways to remove them is starting to become a little bit more popular with like Hero's Downfall, Dreadbore, and all these other cards that can actually hit Planeswalkers. They're starting to get a little more hate. Hate to see that, but I guess it's necessary.
Did you guys know that?
Isn't Dreadbore's sorcery speed?
Oh, you beat me to it.
What? It's like unplayable, literal unplayable. Is that what the rumor around town is?
That's what I've heard from our playgroup.
It's instant or bust, right?
Yeah. No, I honestly don't build enough of this in because I don't play a whole lot of damage-based removal, and I don't play enough things that can target walkers, other than the destroy target permanent. Like, I mean, I do play Hero's Downfall because to me it's just a premium removal spell. Mm-hmm. If you're in black, you should play it. I usually think of destroying walkers as a just by swinging kind of thing, but if you're playing against Pillow Fort, that can be a problem. So having another way to deal with them is a good idea.
Yep.
Agreed. And up next and last on our list, probably the most controversial is land destruction.
Ooh.
People do not like not being able to play Magic.
I'll actually go first on this for
a couple reasons.
For a couple reasons. All right. So I will start off with the probably most divisive opinion. I am very much of the opinion that Wizards designed a mechanic that it ran with for years. This is the same way I feel about counterspells. It's part of the game, except that it's part of the game. Now, that doesn't mean you should only run mass land destruction, because I know that a lot of people get really, really bothered by it. And that's fine. Know your play group, make it a fun experience. If people hate playing against that, then don't play it. I used to play a Zozu deck where I blew up lands all the time. It was annoying. I had my fun with it for a little bit. I don't play it anymore. Do I still run land destruction? Absolutely. I still run strip mine. I still run wasteland. Because there are some lands that are a huge problem. You know, you have Gaia's Cradles, you have Cabal Coffers, Nykthos, Maze of Ith, things that you have to get rid of. And so if you run no way to interact with those, then they become a real big problem. Yep. So I think you at least have to run some, I would say, more targeted than mass land destruction.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I'm not completely opposed to mass land destruction, except for in the case that I know that Shannon has a very strong opinion on, is if you play an Armageddon and you didn't have a plan to win, then we might all scoop.
Yes, that would be my big point. I don't mind mass land destruction as long as it is part of a game plan that results in a win. If you're I've seen this happen actually at one of the Grand Melees we played. The guy next to me was losing, and he's like, "Well, I'm about to die. I'm just gonna cast Armageddon." And I'm like, why? Why are you doing that?
I'm just gonna cripple everybody else.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose, but I'm just gonna screw you two guys. You
Right.
know? So I'm like, that's not cool. And so there are other decks out there that when they're desperate they MLD, and that's not exactly the funnest experience. If you're gonna use land, mass land destruction, just make sure it's part of your plan and that you can recover faster, or you can generate more card advantage in your opponents, and it's clear that you're doing it and it's part of a strategy and not just laughing that no one can play Magic for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I do run one Jockle Hops in my Planeswalker deck because, if you get a couple Planeswalkers out and then you Jockle Hops destroying literally everything but the Planeswalkers, then usually people are like, okay, well, those Planeswalkers are definitely going to win the game.
Right.
The game is over. Let's move on kind of thing. But back to your earlier point, definitely need spot removal when it comes to lands because there are really strong lands out there. Guys, Cradle's a very strong card. Nykthos is very good. Maze can literally lock you out if you're in Voltron, so having a couple of ways to deal with pesky lands is very important.
You guys missed Cabal Coffers.
Yeah, that's also probably the most popular. I mean, I was leaving that. I wasn't gonna hate on your card.
Okay, so Cabal Coffers, though, like just like Nykthos, they're all the same card essentially.
Yeah.
They all make more mana. They give you 2 turns in 1 turn essentially.
Yeah.
If you don't have an answer for that, you're just gonna lose the game. Being able to generate double the mana, triple the mana a turn.
Right.
You have to run Ghost Quarter, Tech Edge, whatever you can to get rid of these things. I mean, if you can afford it or whatever your budget may be, run a Wasteland. It hits the most relevant lands. And if someone gets upset about that, then they're the problem, not you.
Right.
Yeah.
Or just run Strip Mine, which is cheaper than Wasteland, and just run it as a Wasteland. I mean, you don't need to hit somebody's basics.
You really don't.
That's really
unless
never...
it's the only one on the field. If they have one forest, you hit it.
What are you doing?
If it's like turn 10, they have one forest and they can cast a bunch of green spells, you hit the forest.
Okay. I mean, that's reasonable, I guess. If it's turn 10,
I don't know.
Single colored source.
It's kind of funny. People get upset about it. You guys not into that? Oh, sorry, guys.
No. Nope.
That brings us to the conclusion of diversity in what you can remove. Up next, how much removal to run. What is the appropriate number of removal spells? And first off, we're going to talk about spot removal.
Yeah, how many you run there, Mr. Spike?
I don't know, 10, 20.
Depends.
Depends. It really depends. You never know. I mean, you're playing a mono black deck, and you're sitting there, and you get the best ones. You just ping.
I like the Orzhov ones. Get a little exile action in there.
I mean, those are also good. We did mention those. What about Timmy? Like -2?
Sometimes mine are stuck to bodies, which is not the greatest. Like your acidic slimes and your duplicates. So sometimes I don't run enough instant speed ones, which are the important ones. But I guess it varies depending on the deck design. It could be somewhere between 2 to 6 in that range, because I usually like 10 of my cards are dedicated to all kinds of removals, so it could be any portion of that.
Yeah, I mean, I run spot removal, but I only run the spot removal that synergizes with my decks. So there might be a deck that doesn't have any synergy with it, and so like I would say my mono green, I have enchantment and artifact spot removal, and that's probably it.
Gotta get that Beast Within in there. Come on, man.
I might have Beast Within. I might have Desert Twister in there.
Oh, Desert Twister,
super esoteric. But I definitely don't tend to run a lot of spot removal, mostly because I'm just trying to make room for all the other synergistic things that I want going on in the combos and things like that in my deck, and it's kind of the last thing that I go to, which is maybe not the best idea, but I would say depending on the deck, 2 to 10.
Swingy. All right.
Yeah, very swingy.
I just want everyone to know, all of our lovely listeners, that he plays Desert Twister.
Yep, that is
a
true.
6 mana sorcery, destroy target permanent.
Yeah. Hey,
wait.
It gets rid of lands.
Did you play Grip of Desolation?
Instant speed.
Oh.
Exile.
Oh.
Target creature and target land.
Wow, that is a strict upgrade.
I don't know.
What? Okay.
All right, moving on.
Whatever you guys say. Anyways, yeah, up next we have board wipes, and we're going to talk about the number of those that are appropriate. And I don't think there's such thing as too many. I think
there's definitely such thing as too many.
Okay, if you are in a 2-color deck outside of black and white, I think you play whichever ones you have access to. I think you play those, because I think, personally, if you draw that board wipe, you're not going to play into it, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And you're going to let your opponents continue to develop their board state, and then you're going to take advantage of them by blowing up all their stuff.
I just love that game plan. It's so concise. Bait them out, blow them away.
Bait them out, blow them up. B&B, baby.
Yeah, I think as a Timmy, I generally run like one is a backup plan. One is a insurance policy when things get out of hand. But sometimes, depending on the deck, maybe Spell Slinger or Planeswalkers, I'll run like 6 to 8. But very rarely does it get that high. I usually stick around with 1, and if I'm a control deck, maybe 3 or 4. And that's a lot. Like I said, that's a chunk of my 10 cards I dedicate to removal in a deck.
Yeah, I mean, board wipes, I would say that on average, I probably add 2 or 3 because I know how important they are in decks. It's kind of one of those, I have to give up that slot, and so I'm going to give it up for board wipes. But I don't really, like I said earlier, I don't really like playing them. They're a necessary evil. If I'm in mono black and there's nothing that makes sense to run with what I'm playing, then I just play a Damnation. Sweet, simple. It gets rid of things. Yep. Lets me reset and rebuild. Yep.
Very rarely do you draw a board wipe and you're like, dang, I didn't want this card. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to blow up so many of these other people's permanents.
Yeah, so I think we all agree now that there's no such thing as too many. Got it. Up next, we have counterspells. And you know what? I've actually kind of changed my perspective on counterspells in the last month or so. I used to jam like 7 in every deck that had blue.
Sounds horrible.
Maybe for you, Mr. Combo Man. Not getting anything down tonight. Anyways, however, I do believe if you're playing a blue deck with an additional color, I think you can play the appropriate 5 to 10. That's where I look at it.
5 to 10.
Yeah.
The base 5 to 10. On top of the 10 removal spells.
10
spot removal spells.
That's 5.
Infinity.
So what about other colors? So let's talk about counterspell, because counterspells are obvious in blue. Like you're gonna play some number. What do you guys think about non-blue counterspells?
They're
any of them?
Pretty much atrocious. Almost all of them.
Yeah, I would agree that I think the only fun one that comes to mind is Not of This World. Because it's so funny. It's so funny to counter something in mono brown.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think if I'm not in blue, even when I am in blue, I'm not really looking to play a lot of counters, honestly. There's definitely decks I build around counters, but they're not something that I just flat add to blue. And that's kind of just my Timmy thing. I want a little more. I want like a body or something. So if I'm in blue and I'm not spell specific, I'm just not gonna run that many counters. And then if I'm not in blue, no counters.
The only thing, okay, so the one way I look at this when it comes to non-blue quote-unquote counterspells is I look at red and I see abilities like Fork and
those are clutch.
And Reverberate.
Yep.
Or Dualcaster Mage. Mm-hmm. These things may not say counter-target spell, but they do in your color that you should not be able to do that. If you're trying to resolve a threat in your mono-red deck, and you cast it because they try to counter it, you just countered them in mono red.
Right.
But then you also, even if you're not playing against a blue deck, they try to kill your thing, you kill their thing too. Like, I feel like those are good cards to play in a mono red deck. Outside of mono red, you're probably not playing them. If you're playing a red white, you have access to other things. So, but in a mono red deck, I feel like those those effects are pretty strong.
I think that having access to counters in other colors is somewhat necessary if you can find decent enough ones to play. Like, I will play a Lapse of Certainty in white.
That's fine. That's fine. But are you
playing
Mana Tithe?
Memory Lapse. It's just a color shifted Memory Lapse, which is a decent enough counterspell. It's not the best.
Yeah. But
it's a decent enough counterspell. Other than that, back to the number that you play, I would say that even in mono blue decks, probably 5 or less. And then that's probably the majority of my removal that I have in there. Yeah, I think 5 is always like my top for counterspells. Right. If I have more than that, I think I'm overdoing it.
Yeah, I was trying to find a balance because, when I'm usually running like my big old Timmy builds, I'm usually tapping out. And then the counters require precise timing. And sometimes I'm just not timing my stuff correctly. I'm not seeing the obvious plays coming, or I'm just too focused on trying to build up my board state. So the counters require that split-second timing, and if that time is come and gone, I much prefer a flat spot removal in its place. So counters, I require kind of specific builds, and specific play styles in order to play effectively. So
as a spike, I like it when you tap out 4 spells, so I can counter them.
yeah, I mean that's fair.
Yeah.
And I think that wraps up our segment on how much to run, and I think we can all agree that you guys like me better.
Seems like an arbitrary shift in focus, but sure.
Yeah. Okay. If you enjoy like the most miserable games of Magic, yes, please join an all spike, all removal pod.
You'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, up next is gonna be our top 5 list.
Top 5 each.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's move on to that. And now the moment you've all been waiting for: our top 5 lists of removal spells, and we're gonna go worst to best, and it's gonna be Adam for his number 5.
All right, my number 5 is Spine of Ish-Sa, which I have a hard time saying. But anyway, it's an artifact for 7, and when it enters the battlefield, you destroy target permanent. When it gets put in the graveyard from the battlefield, you return it to your hand. This is combo-rific. There's so many ways to get this just cycling and cycling and cycling. If you have a way to give your artifacts any kind of decrease in casting cost, then you can probably just keep laying this out and cycling through it and blowing up all of the permanents on the board. If you have an artifact-centric deck, you play this. Shannon, what do you have for your number 5, sir?
My number 5 is Chaos Warp. Maybe one of the only spot removals on my top 5. But Chaos Warp, I like it. It's in red. It deals with anything. It is like the premier deals with any permanent card in Magic. There's plenty of cards that try to impersonate Chaos Warp. You got your Beast Within, not quite as good as it destroys. Doesn't deal with Indestructible. And you have, Song of Dryads, which is pretty funny, turn things into forests. There's a couple other cards out there that try to beat Chaos Warp, but nothing really does beat Chaos Warp from dealing with anything, and it's in red, which is crazy, because, red doesn't really get ways to deal with some of those permanents out there, enchantments and whatnot, so...
Color shifted to heck.
Yep.
I will say one quick friendly tip about Chaos Warp, though. If your commander is going to get hit with a Chaos Warp to get removed, you can in fact manipulate the top of your library to put something better into play, hypothetically.
Yeah.
Because the way the card is worded, it specifically says you would shuffle it in, but you are replacing that effect by putting it in the command zone. Yep. So therefore you would not shuffle, but you would still reveal a card and get something for free.
Yep. If you don't have to shuffle your deck if you put your commander in the command zone, so you're just flipping the top card right off the top of your deck.
So you brainstorm in response to that Chaos Warp, and you can put whatever you want to play.
Some Blightsteel or something.
Yep. Now on to my 5, which
Numero
is
5.
Numero
the
5.
worst of your best.
The worst of the best in general. I'm actually gonna start out with Sylvan Reclamation.
Ooh,
this is a new card from the most recent Commander precons. It is, I think it was printed in 2 of them. It is green, white, 3 colorless, instant speed. Exile up to 2 target artifacts or enchantments. Pretty good.
Yeah.
There's some indestructible things out there. It also is the instant speed factor. And then there's one thing that makes it even a little bit better is the fact that it pays you for basic landslide. If you are land screwed on turn 3, you have yourself a land drop.
Yep.
Right.
And if you're playing green, you got yourself your E-Wits and your Dim Protectors. You can always get it back later. So I think this card is extremely powerful. And now we're going to move on to Adam's number 4.
All right, so my number 4 is Nevinril's Disc, also known as Nevdisc. Nevinril's Disc is a forecasting cost artifact. It enters the battlefield tapped. You can pay 1 and tap it to destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. I love this card for so many reasons. First of all, I love the original, Lovecraftian weird tentacles coming out of a portal amulet art that it has. But this is really great in a lot of different combos. I mean, obviously, this works best in artifact decks where you have Darksteel Forge and Mycosynth Lattice, so you can turn everything into artifacts, so they all get blown up. But Nevinril's Disc does not sacrifice itself. It destroys all artifacts, so it usually dies to itself unless you give it indestructible. And then it just blows everything up over and over and over and over again and locks everybody out of the game. That's super fun for me anyway.
Artifact for 5 and 4.
Wow.
Bold move, Cotton.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as a Timmy, my number 4 is going to be a big dude. His name is Bane of Progress. This guy came out and has started to show up in every single one of my green decks because who doesn't like blowing up every artifact and enchantment on the battlefield and getting swole doing it? Bane of Progress, awesome board wipe. Specific, obviously you don't want to play into your own. You don't want to play too many artifacts and enchantments with your Bane of Progress, but man, does he get big. He can get humongous in a single play and set some of these artifact decks back into the Dark Ages.
I mean, I've definitely seen. I think probably the smallest Bane that I've ever seen is with like 4 counters on it.
Yeah, that little 6/6 for 6 after board wiping effectively a couple layers.
And then some of the biggest that I think I've probably seen like upwards of 12 or so counters on it, which is really good.
Yeah, we just saw a 14/14 in a Xanagos deck that then immediately crunched an artifact player who had nothing left for
that seems good.
28 damage.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Killed him.
Yeah, so what is
he died.
What is your number 4 there, Ryan?
Number 4 on the best list so far is going to be Vindicate. All right, we got ourselves a sorcery. I know, guys. I'm sorry.
Ew, unplayable trash.
1 white, 1 black, colorless. Blow up target permanent. Destroy effect on target permanent for 3 mana. Even though it's sorcery speed, pretty strong. This means it hits lands, guys. So this is kind of one of those things that rolls back into being able to pinpoint that Cabal coffers if it has to.
Yeah.
It hits planeswalkers. It hits anything. And for 3 mana, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say if I'm in Orzhov and I need, 1 or 2 targeted removal spells, Vindicate is definitely a go-to even for me.
Look at that. You guys are learning. Little young whippersnappers. Moving on to number 3, Adam, what you got?
So my number 3 is Aura Shards. 1 green and a white for an enchantment that says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may destroy a target artifact or enchantment. This is in the perfect colors for the perfect usage. Basically, your in-token-based colors, you are going to blow up every single artifact and enchantment on the board by making, hopefully, infinite token. And then if you really want to get spicy, you put this in Bant with Enchanted Evening and turn everything into an enchantment. And then
You lost me.
you make a whole bunch of tokens and blow up everybody's board.
Is it a May effect?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Harmonic Silver's not. So, watch out.
Oops. Oopsies.
Oops, got him.
All right, my number 3 is going to be another big dude by the name of Massacre Worm. I like this guy a lot. So Bane of Progress, blowing up all those pesky artifacts and enchantments. Massacre Worm, blowing up all those pesky tokens and then murdering their owner. Pretty wholesale. A couple times gotten that Massacre Worm down against token players and immediately killed them. So gratifying. Love Massacre Worm. Hashtag Black Elishnorn.
Massacre Worm is a pet.
It's a pet of yours too?
Yeah.
Oh, we can agree? Alright.
I mean, you guys
You
did.
play a 6 mana?
A 6 mana board wipe on a dude that kills people? I'll do it.
I'm down.
Does that Swamp Walk?
No.
Oh, it
I
doesn't.
don't like this card.
No. What?
What a surprise!
Yeah. Does it kill? Does it murder all your little tokeny
It
thingies?
shuts down tokens and druids and all kinds of things.
You literally died in that card.
Yeah.
I do
It
often.
just equals death.
I have
All
died
right.
to it.
So speaking of good board wipes.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
your number 3?
My number 3 is better than Massacre Worm. It cost conveniently 3 mana in my number 3 slot. It is Toxic Deluge. This card is hot fire. This card is, in my opinion, probably the best board wipe, actually. The reason I say that is not only because it's 3 mana and it can kill anything, but because it's selective. If you're facing down, for instance, a army of tokens, you can pay 1 life and kill them all. However, if you're facing down a indestructible 20/20, you can pay 20 life, and if you're gonna die to it next turn anyways, why not get it out of the way? I mean,
Shortcut that, dude.
That is a bold move.
I'm just saying. It kills Titans. It kills the board.
Eldrazi. Yeah.
And the good thing about it is it gets about around indestructible. So
I don't own one.
What?
I know.
Unbelievable.
You need to hop on that train.
Also passes the Gaddock Teague test. Yeah.
Oh, yep. So does Bolt, but we're not there. Don't worry, guys. It's not on my list today. Adam, what you got? Number 2.
My number 2 is Capsized. 1 blue for an instant with buyback 3 that says return target permanent to its owner's hand.
That's the meanest card you've ever said on the show.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love
That's a
this
strong card.
This card, you're in blue and X, and you can probably go infinite 1.5 billion ways, and Capsize just says bounce everything to everybody's hand, except for you.
He likes the boomerang lands.
I do. It's good. It's LD.
Yeah, apparently our Johnny is all about that land destruction. Won't stop talking about it. So I guess that's how it is.
No, I mean, but honestly, it And you can slow roll it too if you just happen to be up at 6 mana and you're kind of in a draw go pattern. You know, somebody swings at you with something, Capsized buyback.
Put them on notice. Put them on notice.
That card might as well cost 6 mana.
Yeah, absolutely.
It should just say 6 mana, bounce a permanent, return it to your hand.
I mean, I have done it without buyback before, but it's a real unfortunate day when that happens.
Yeah.
But, and you're in a pickle. You had to do it to not
absolutely,
die.
Yeah.
All right, my number 2 is going to be also a blue spell by the name of Cryptic Command. This spell does a lot of work.
Yeah.
It does everything you could possibly want out of a blue instant, including the pretty extra spicy caveat of tapping down all opponent's creatures. So this one enables you to actually go offensive and win the game pretty fast. So, and also counters, draws, and bounces. So this thing is the premier, I think, blue spell when it comes to us Timmies wanting to do some crazy stuff.
Cryptic Command is the poster child of blue, like I'm the poster child of this podcast. So.
Oh, really? You're a child? Yes, that's for sure.
Force of Will is not the poster child of blue?
I like Cryptic a little more.
Cryptic's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's
not free.
I can't say that it's not like top 5 counter spells. Like, it's definitely in the top 5 counter spells.
Yeah, hands down. It's just, but it's number 2 on his list, and that's what's important. Number 2 for me is going to be Swords to Plowshare. You may be asking yourself, how did that rank on number 2? And you must be waiting in such anticipation for my number 1. We'll get there eventually. The point is, Swords to Plowshare is the butter. Like, just 1 white, they gain life. I don't care. I'll get you back down eventually. Mm-hmm. But it answers basically any creature outside of Hexproof.
So you value this one significantly greater than Path to Exile?
Yeah, okay, so the thing about it is, in comparison to the 2, I think that giving your opponent land, maybe not early on, but even at some point, can give them a threat. You can let them play their commander a turn sooner. Like if you hit their commander, for instance, with a Path to Exile, they'll just exile it, get that land, they draw it, and they play it again. Because they have that 2 text. Yep. So giving them the life is way less relevant than a land, I think, in my opinion. Plus, if they're missing a third of a color or a second of a color, they can fix their mana with that spell.
Heaven forbid they're able to play Magic that game.
What a tragedy.
I know, yeah.
Keep
them off 3 colors at all costs.
I have to agree with the assessment, though. Like, from playing both of them in EDH, I would say that I prefer Swords for that exact reason. Like, I can sword somebody's commander, and it legitimately sets them back a turn or 2 on replaying that, but Path does not. I mean, it almost just allows them to replay it. And if they're playing something like a Perforos or something like that, where its static ability is enough and it doesn't even have to swing, then it's way too easy for them to rebuild.
Or maybe a Maelstrom Wanderer, perhaps.
What is that card? That's horrible.
That's very good to get that there. Free land.
Yeah, which is exactly what he wants.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Time for the
Numero uno.
The thunder. Adam, break it down.
Grave Pact.
Really? Grave Pact?
Number 1?
Yeah. Numero atop of your list, Grave Pact. All right. Let's hear about Grave Pact.
Okay. There are too many combos that involve me sacking infinite numbers of creatures. I mean, and there's just simple synergies with it too. I mean, you were talking about Fleshbag earlier, or Merciless Executioner, or what. You have a Grave Pact out, you put out a Fleshbag Marauder, you only sack the Fleshbag Marauder, and everybody else sacks 2 things. Mm-hmm. Like, that alone is super powerful, is almost a board wipe on its own. It is easy to turn this thing into a board wipe with all kinds of fodder, Viscera Seer and combo decks, Sadistic Hypnotist, so many sack outlets. It's just very good.
I didn't think his number 1 would actually scream value, but it does.
But I mean, it's an enchantment. Isn't that weird?
Artifact, instant.
No, artifact. Enchantment. That is his. As you can see, all mine are mostly dudes. So on to my number 1. It's a 7 mana blue spell, the one you all been waiting for, the premier EDH 7 mana. Blue spell. Blatant Thievery. Yes. Oh, yes. It's Blatant Thievery. You thought it was going to be something else.
They're all crying.
I like how you said premier 7-mana blue spell.
Yeah.
Like there's a big pool of 7-mana blue spells to pull from.
Yeah, no. This one is clearly the best 7-mana blue spell. Yeah. Because not only is this removal, but it is a win con. You're stealing the best permanent from each of your opponents. It's a huge board swing.
Everybody plays Homeward Path.
That's where I guess you need your little land destruction. Okay, so But anyways, I love Blatant Thievery. It's big splashy spell, stealing all the best permanents, can turn the table completely around. can deal with indestructible, can deal with all that kind of stuff. So a big fan of Blatant Thievery. So did you have some other like blue spell?
7-mana blue spell?
Probably not nearly as good.
I just wanted to make a statement about Blatant Thievery. I actually don't like that card that much, but it's a cool Magic card that only gets better with the more players you're playing against.
Yeah, I like that.
That's something you got to keep in mind.
Yep.
I mean, if 1v1, don't play the card. It's pretty bad.
Yep.
But 7 people, come on, it's pretty good.
Hopefully that'll
7-person pod. I'm out.
I wouldn't be in that pod anyways, but he might. I mean, it's all about the story, right?
Yep.
Okay, guys. Now it's time for the real deal. Cyclonic Rift.
Oh, I guess that card's okay.
Okay. I believe there's actually been a lot of banter with people talking about banning that card.
I can believe that. card.
Yeah.
It is an instant speed spell that answers everybody's board but yours.
Yep.
And let's not forget, in a pickle, like we talked about the Capsized, it could return a permanent to someone's hand, a non-land permanent that is, to someone's hand. If it was coming at you, you were gonna die. It could work. Don't do that, guys. Save it for the 7. You can hold out. I promise. But that kind of asymmetrical effect is ridiculous in Magic.
Definitely.
I'm assuming you guys can all agree with that. This is by far.
I mean, like Cyclonic Rift is almost. I don't know what happened when they printed this card, where it was just like, we need something that anything that even looks at blue is going to play in EDH.
Yes.
And that's what happened with Cyclonic Rift. This card is beyond good, almost to the point of unfair, because when you play a Rift, if you play it correctly, you're probably just winning.
Mm-hmm.
It answers any board state.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as being grounded.
This is the ultimate EDH talking about crazy board states, dies to removal argument. It says, anyone's like, I can assemble this board state that's unstoppable. And you're like, and you also can say, I can Rift it. Because Rift can deal with literally any board state.
It's true.
We struggled to come up with one that Rift can't deal with.
Yeah, where's that like new hexproof mechanic that's like cannot be removed from the battlefield?
Yeah, the old like tether to the earth things cannot be returned to your hand. No, please don't do that. Just let Cyclonic Rift rule EDH. It's a fantastic card. It's probably one of the best cards in EDH.
It also passes the Teague test.
Does pass the Teague test.
On the stack, it is 2 CMC, not 7.
No.
So I think that wraps up our top 5 removal spells from each perspective, and I think we're gonna move on to our Chance Encounter. Very special one tonight, guys. All right, guys, the Chance Encounter. This one is pretty special. As a play group, last week we decided that we were gonna do a new Commander League coming up. We're gonna start in a couple weeks, and what we did was we randomly assigned to, I believe there's 10 of us, right?
11, I think.
11, okay, 11 of us. And we randomly assigned both Theros gods and Amonkhet gods. And how we did that was we basically had one of each god, and we shuffled in a pile, and we picked 2, and we had the choice of one of them. There was no take backsies, there was no tradesies. You just got stuck with one of the 2 that you pulled.
Yep.
These decks are in fact budget decks. We have a $50 building limit, and let me tell you, I don't know if you guys have ever had a budget on a deck. It is not fun.
Yeah.
You're talking some trash cards, and this may or may not be Adam's like pool of love. Like
I love it.
He's just
like
he gets to play
obscure,
he gets to play the bad cards he would play anyways.
Cards you have never heard of in your life.
But yeah, so we're super excited for this, and we're actually gonna go over who we got. And how about you start off, Adam? Who'd you get?
Yeah, so I got Hazaret the Fervent.
Ooh.
And so Hazaret basically can't attack or block unless you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. And he has a mechanic where he can discard cards to do 2 damage to each opponent. I basically focused my deck around those things, around trying to discard as much as possible, both to him and to other cards that don't see a whole lot of play. Things like Avaricious Dragon.
Oh, that's fine.
It's basically like a grafted skull cap. So I'm always keeping my hand at 2, but I'm also drawing extra, so I have things to play, and then can still swing in with Hazaret. I also have like the Massacre suite in here because they want you to discard cards, and they have a little bit of removal on them. And then a couple of spicy things to try and help you draw without drawing, technically. So
like exile effects, like Chandra effects.
Yeah, Chandra effects, maybe. But
without
Chandra. Chandra's more expensive than the budget would allow. So yeah, I mean, I have Outpost Siege and Stromkirk something or other that does it. So those kind of things, and then a few madness, hellbent, flashback type things, because I know I'm going to be discarding things from goldfishing it. All I can tell you about this deck is do not get married to any card because it's all fodder for discard. Like that was the hardest problem. Is I was like, I have a card that allows me to discard my entire hand, but I like some of these. Well, bye bye. So that's kind of the direction that I took it. I used a whole bunch of cheap, underused cards that force you to discard, but try and get a little bit of value, whether it's a bigger body or some damage to some other creatures or things like that. Okay. So Shannon, who did you get and what did you do with it?
Oh, I got a little guy by the name of Kefnet.
Polar opposite of Hazard, by the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you want 0 cards in hand, and I want 7+. Yeah. So this is going to be a not super creative, not super fun for anyone else but me, Drago control build. I think right now the instant count is about 43, I think. 43 instants. So there's a few more counters than I was talking about.
How many counters would you say?
A little in the range of, I think, around 25.
25 counter spells?
Yeah.
I believe we just had a discussion about, 10 is too much.
Yeah, well, the main point of this deck is to keep Kefnet around and keep him punching people in the face.
I'm sure you don't have, like, Apomify, Rapid Hybridization, and Curse of the Swine on top of that. That would seem like overkill.
No, I don't run the Apomify because, everyone's got an indestructible body, but I do run the Reality Shift. Like that.
Oh, nice.
I got some tech in there. Mainly it's going to be around Kefnet swinging in the sky to kill people. I also run, like, Runechanter's Pike and Imperial Plate to pump him up to maybe get a 3-hit kill. It's tiresome waiting for 5 hits. There may also be like a Rise of the Tides in there because all these instants and sorceries can turn into bodies and maybe a little metallurgic summonings. I don't know. I got some tech. I also have one of my favorite of the cycle of I don't know what you'd even call them, emotions. His name is Guile, and he says when you counter someone's spell, you get to exile it and then cast it for free. So I'll be trying to win with some other people's cards too. So who did you get? Did you get anything good? I don't think you got any good gods over there, Mr. Spike.
Oh no, I only wound up with your 2 combined. I got the brand new, not even released, fresh off the print, Locust God.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Unbelievable
seriously.
that of all the people in our group, you pulled the Locust God.
My other option was like Heliod, so I didn't really have many options.
Don't challenge yourself, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
No. My
Just
job
straight
is
up stomp this entire league.
My job is to challenge you guys.
Oh, okay, I guess.
So I think that it's pretty self-explanatory what my options are here. I've got myself a 6-mana 4/4 flying beater. He doesn't. The interesting thing about these gods, by the way, the 3, the Scorpion, the Locust, and the Scarab, they are not indestructible like yours or the Theros gods. They do have an activated ability, and I believe actually all of yours do as well. Yeah. The thing about it though is it has a clause as a delayed trigger. If it were to die, you would return it to your hand at the next end step.
Yeah.
So you kind of have a commander that just recycles itself and it never gets taxed unless of course it's exiled for any reason. Yeah. My guy though is a beater who says whenever I draw a card, I make a 1/1 flying locust that has haste.
That's so stupid. Why do they have haste? That's insane.
Because you're supposed to win in 1 turn.
They don't want you to wait. Or
No.
anything. You just want you to go ahead and win whenever you want.
So, I'm playing Treasure Cruise, Brainstorm.
Sure.
Maybe some of the cheaper cantrips I can afford in my deck. I'm also maybe leaning towards like the Skull Clamp / not Phyrexian Altar, that's way too expensive. Ashnod's Altar, yes. I believe that goes infinite on its own and I win the game.
I mean, at least he's not indestructible. Like, it is easy enough to remove with a lot of different things. He does come back to hand.
It's easy enough to remove when you guys run 1 to 2 removal spells. Got it.
So did I mention that almost every card that says discard a card in red says deal damage to something?
Does it deal like 4 damage?
Or more, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. No. When you have no cards to discard.
Yeah, I mean, the really interesting thing about the Locust God to me is like and all of the 3 new gods is they don't have a condition to attack and block.
Yes.
Like correct. He can just do it.
Yep.
So he loses the indestructible bonus, but he's way easier to swing in with.
Yeah. Just giving Izzet the power to just get extra value from draws is something that is always wanted.
Yeah.
It's like all it wants to do is just draw a bunch of cards,
Right.
and then somehow that will have won the game. Well, now they got it. They got a guy. I mean, you had Niv Mizzet who used to do it too.
Yeah.
And they had to change the rules, I believe, because it used to be non-combat damage for commanders, and so Niv Mizzet, the Fire Mine, would just blow up
I actually
entire
didn't
pods.
know that.
Yeah, if you just nuke entire pods, they're like, okay, well, we should probably make it combat damage now.
Yeah.
So now they got another one who can even get around that. So enjoy your sweet pull. By the way.
I'm sorry. Brainstorming and getting 3 dudes with haste is just
nasty, like disgusting.
God.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't even tell you about the spicy paradox engine that's going in there.
Oh, you can go for it. You give me number $50. It's $50 limit.
Yeah, paradox engine's like 7.
Oh geez,
Cantrips.
that's big. And then Skull Clamp, and then Ashnod's Altar. I think you might have busted the bank already.
That's half my budget. It's worth it.
And then 96 lands. Yeah.
we'll just throw in like those
You just
random
gotta draw
molten vortex and like
seismic assault. You got it there.
Yep.
All right, seems good.
Oh,
Well, I'm playing Gustha's Scepter.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't think
I
anyone.
know.
No one wants to know what that does.
So yeah, guys, stay tuned because we'll keep you up to date as how it goes as we battle it out. We may have some cool battles where we'll do like Theros versus Amonkhet gods in group battles, and then we'll just see who pans out for second place under the obnoxiously overpowered Locust God.
Yeah, and if you want to follow along, we're usually doing. I usually try to live tweet a little bit on Thursdays or Fridays while we're playing about what matchups are coming. So if you follow us on the Trinisphere or at the Trinisphere, then you'll get those updates and you get to weigh in on some board states here and there.
As much as I really would love is all these people to keep in touch, they already know what's happening because I'm playing the Locust God.
But I might not be in your pod, so I can still.
Oh, that's true. That's right. You guys can live
I may be like
on the outskirts of the victory pool.
Like literally on counter duty where we both just lose because I have to eliminate you from the game.
FYI, the trophy is not up for grabs on this.
Oh, what? Really? You're Bogarting the trophy? All right. We'll have to come up with a new one then.
That's fine. Whatever God wins, we'll put a little statue.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh.
All right.
I have good ideas sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we're now going to move on to our outro. Thanks again for listening, guys, and a big thanks to our sponsor, TappedOut.net. You can find all of our Budget God deck lists that we talked about tonight on Tapped Out, along with a fantastic Magic community. You can also find us on thetrinisphere.com, our webpage. Follow us on Facebook or Twitter. Adam the Johnny on Twitter as Squire9999 and Tapped Out Squire1. You can find Ryan, me the Spike, on Twitter at Snapmaster and Tapped Out. I'm Ryan Reese. Shannon the Timmy on Twitter and Tapped Out as Nikki Bolus. YouTube, always remember, share, like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Be sure to check us out on our next episode where we will be talking about a very special EDH variant created by Adam himself called Planar Chaos. A unique game type where you travel multiple planes through multiverse as individuals and you're essentially playing a planeswalker. So stay tuned, guys. And remember, always stay winning, my friends.